Guys, what is up? I probably have the most popular running shoe that is ever sold, ever. It's definitely Brooks' most popular running shoe. Guys, today we are looking at the latest iteration of the Ghost. Guys, this is the Brooks Ghost 17. Let's get into it. Before we get started, I do just want to say that this video is in collaboration with my friends over at Roadrunner Sports. Now, the Brooks Ghost 17 was sent to me for review. I didn't have to pay for it, but Roadrunner Sports hasn't told me what to say. They don't have any editorial privileges, and all the thoughts and opinions are my own. With that said, you are still going to be able to pick up a pair of the Brooks Ghost 17 for only $140, and it represents incredible value. And of course, I will place a link in the show notes below in case you want to pick up a pair from yourself from Roadrunner Sports. So actually, this is a pretty big year for the Ghost franchise because Brooks has made some enormous changes. In fact, I would say that this year, Brooks has made the biggest change ever to the Ghost franchise. But we'll dig into those changes in a more natural way, but I promise I won't keep you waiting too long. But first of all, the Brooks Ghost 17 has 36.5 in the heel, 26.5 in the forefoot for a 10mm drop. And there it is. I told you I wouldn't make you wait long. The Brooks Ghost 17 is a 10mm drop. For those of you that haven't been paying attention for like ever, the Brooks Ghost has always been a 12mm drop shoe. Now, Brooks is lowering the drop to 10mm, which means, in my opinion, they are making the Brooks Ghost 17 more accessible to more runners, more walkers, more people in general by not having such an extreme drop as they have had with 12mm. And look, not only have they lowered the drop to 10mm, they've done this by adding a millimeter to the heel and 3mm to the forefoot, so you have even more cushioning underfoot. But we'll get to that cushioning in just a minute. Now, Brooks claims that in a US men's size 9, the Ghost 17 would hit the scale at 10.1 ounces or 286 grams. However, in my size, a US men's size 13, the Ghost 17 tips the scale at 12.2 ounces or 347 grams. Now, last year in my size, in the Ghost 16, my size weighed in at 331 grams. So the weight has gone up a little bit, but remember, we're getting even more cushioning with the new Ghost 17. And I was going to wait till the end to talk about this, but I think the Brooks Ghost 17 just looks 1,000 times better than the Brooks Ghost 16. I think the 16 is the type of shoe that Brooks kind of got that reputation for making boring looking shoes. But of course, that was the old Brooks. Brooks has come out with some fantastic looking shoes. Talking about the Hyperion 2, the Max 2, the Elite 4, and the upcoming 5. Like, those shoes look fantastic. So it's about time Brooks did away with this kind of old fuddy-duddy look and gave the Ghost a more streamlined shape. And I think a lot of that streamlined shape is coming from right here, right at this heel pull. Now, they're calling it a kickback, but it's just giving you a nice little handle to help pull that shoe on if you need it. Of course, this still is a daily trainer, and because it's a daily trainer, it is made for comfort. We have a lot of padding around this heel collar. Of course, the heel counter is super rigid. It is highly unlikely you're going to have any heel slip in this shoe, but of course, it would surprise me if you did. But if you did, we still have this extra lace loop in case you wanted to do the runner's knot, but I'm telling you, there is enough padding here where when your foot goes in, you are just going to be enveloped in comfort. Now, the tongue is just like the heel collar. It is super padded. Actually, not much change between the tongue over this year with the 17 and previous years. It is super padded. It's still not gusseted, but we do have a lace loop right on the front, and even though there's no heel pull on the back, there is a pull right on the tongue in case you needed a bit of extra help, a bit of extra leverage to get the Ghost 17 on your foot. It all works well. And again, this shoe is built for comfort. I think that is mainly why this shoe has been just so popular with everybody, from runners to walkers. You just put it on and you can forget about it. As far as overlays, yeah, pretty typical overlays actually. We got the branding here on the lateral side and the medial side. Standard underlay coming around the toe box just to keep that upper off your foot. Full length of reinforcement coming along the eyelet chain just so you can cinch those laces down and get a good midfoot lockdown. Now, as far as the upper goes, Brooks has changed this. In fact, the Ghost 17 has had some mammoth changes, but Brooks is using a double jacquard air mesh upper, and it feels pretty light. I didn't have any trouble running in this shoe in the heat and experience any overheating, but of course, you know, summer is just around the corner, so I haven't been testing this shoe in the hottest temperatures, but I think it's going to provide adequate ventilation. Of course, there are going to be lighter shoes out there. Those race day shoes are going to have a very light, wispy upper, but with the Ghost 17, we're trying to balance strength and resiliency. Like, we don't want to use these shoes just for a race or a couple of workouts. We want to use the Ghost for everything. And by everything, I mean everything. Like, when you buy a pair of Brooks Ghost, you are going to be running in them. When you're done running in them, you're going to be using them for everyday life. And then when they're done with everyday life, you're going to be retiring them to stuff like mowing the grass. I think the Brooks Ghost probably have the longest lifespan of most running shoes out there. But first of all, and primarily, the Brooks Ghost is a running shoe. It's a daily trainer. And it does have a removable insole, if I can ever get that out. It fits very well. That's just going to contribute to a nice step-in feel. But the point of it being removable is that if you needed to put in any custom inserts, you're able to remove this one and put in your custom one. Now let's come down to the midsole. Look, a couple of years ago when Brooks switched to their DNA Loft V3, I was very impressed. I like how this midsole feels. And now we have even more of it. As I said, we have an additional 1mm in the heel, 3mm in the forefoot, so you're going to get even more of that nitrogen-infused midsole goodness. Now, this DNA Loft V3, it's not a super plush foam. You are not going to be sinking into this and you're going to feel like your energy is being zapped. This foam does give a little back. Now, again, I know I already sound like a broken record, but this is a daily trainer. It is not made for speed, and I say that it's not made to speed with the idea that Brooks has a lot of other shoes that are made for speed. But that's not to say you couldn't pick up the pace. This DNA Loft V3 does allow you to pick up the pace when needed. I'm thinking like strides at the end of an easy run. And of course, if you just wanted to go out and run a long time, I think that is where the Brooks Ghost excels. Like when I'm going out for my long run, this is the type of shoe that I am grabbing, because when I'm going out and I'm running for a long time, the primary thing that I'm looking for is comfort. All this padding and the nitrogen infused DNA Loft V3 is just super comfortable when I'm going to be running in these for a long time. Now, let's come down to the outsole. And again, Brooks has made a big change, and the change is primarily where they have put in these midsole flex grooves. So the Brooks Ghost 17 it's fairly flexible up here in the forefoot, and the flex grooves and the resulting flexiness is going to contribute to a more fluid toe off. So when you're landing and then rolling through, it's all going to feel super smooth. I love how much rubber there is on the bottom of this Ghost. Again, that is going to contribute to its lifespan. The Ghost 17 is going to last a long time, mainly because there is just a lot of rubber here on the outsole. Now, I think the Brooks Ghost is typically a shoe that people think about when they think about shoes that can do pretty much everything. I mean, I would imagine it's hard pressed for you to go out into society if you are paying attention to what people are wearing on their feet. I think it'd be hard pressed for you to go a day without seeing someone wearing the Brooks Ghost. And I'm talking from start lines to shopping malls. The Brooks Ghost are everywhere. And with the Ghost 17, I think Brooks is continuing to innovate without alienating their base audience. Like, I don't think that change from 12mm to 10mm is going to put anyone off, but it is going to bring a lot of people in. So ultimately, if you are a Ghost fan, I think it's a no-brainer. You are going to love the Ghost 17. If you're not already a Ghost fan and you're looking for a daily trainer, this is definitely one to consider, especially because it's $140. But if you are thinking about picking up a $140 daily trainer, you are probably looking at some of the competition. And if you're looking at the Ghost 17, I think you're probably also looking at shoes like the New Balance 880 version 15. Now the 880 version 15 has 40 in the heel, 34 in the forefoot, so it's got quite a bit of a lower drop than the Ghost 17. It'll also cost $140, so the same price. And in my size tips the scale at 348 grams. So it's 1 gram heavier than my size in the Ghost 17. Next up, I think you're probably looking at the Saucony Ride 18. Now the Ride 18 has 35/27 for an 8mm drop. It is also $140, and in my size tips the scale at 329 grams. So it weighs 18 grams less than the Ghost 17. Next up, I think a good competitor is the Asics Gel Cumulus 27. The Cumulus 27 has an 8mm drop. We've got 38.5, 30.5. It'll also cost $140, and in my size tips the scale at 324 grams. And finally, if you're shopping for the Ghost 17, I think you should probably also look at the Mizuno Wave Rider 28. Now the Wave Rider 28 has 37 in the heel, 25 in the forefoot for that 12mm drop. So if for some reason you wanted a shoe with a 12mm drop because the Ghost 17 dropped down to 10, Wave Rider 28 might be one you want to take a look at. Now the Wave Rider 28 will also cost you $140. This is a very competitive price point. And in my size tips the scale at 336 grams, which is 11 grams less than my size in the Ghost 17. So as we can see, this $140 price point is very competitive, and I think the Ghost 17, especially because we've made it down to a 10mm drop, is more competitive than it's ever been. But guys, now I want to hear from you. First of all, have you ever run in a Ghost in any of the years? I'm willing to bet you have. And of course, if you have, I'd love to know which version you've run in. Go ahead and drop a comment. And I'd also like to know if you are thinking of picking up a daily trainer this season. Drop a comment and let me know. But for now, it's Matt B. And this has been my review of the Brooks Ghost 17, as they have made some huge updates. I love it. Be kind, be happy, run well. See you in a couple of days.